Hey, hello again. We're back with the, what are we doing? Ah, yes, we're not doing this one. We're doing this other one, which is very much like this one. So here we have great guitar. I'm not sure what to do with this one. This is a vintage SG, yet another one, the third one we've got here at the moment, in black. It's come with a really nice action, and it also has a DiMarzio pickup at a roller bridge, so it's got some nice added equipment here. And presumably here is a Wilkinson humbucking pickup as well. So everything about this guitar is in good nick and well set up, and I've had a play at it, play on it when I bought it from a chap nearby, so it's really nice. But as with all things, it's going to have to lose its strings if it's to get the neck done, and I've got basically a whole raft of vintage SGs waiting to have their necks done here, so got a bit of fret levelling work to do. And the question for me with this one is really, do I keep it or do I sell it, or do I keep the DiMarzio and the roller bridge and move it across to another guitar? And the guitar I have in mind, by the way, is the AcePro SG, which I really like as a quirky and unusual SG. Or do I leave this intact and keep this and sell the AcePro? It's really, really hard to make that decision. So a luxury problem, I suppose you might say. And we'll have a thorough look at this one at some point. Make a decision. These vintage SGs are really nice quality guitars, and seeing these were pretty good condition strings. But hey, you can't do the fret levelling work without breaking eggs or something. So off they come into the bin with them. And let's get ourselves a pot. SG White, SG Cherry, and there we go. This will be a vintage SG Black. Look, ready made. So off comes the units. That's nice. That's a useful little roller bridge. Again, as I say, we could quite easily change this out for parts on the AcePro, which I'm sort of tempted with, but we'll see. We'll see how this comes along. Problem with there's no problem with this. The only problem with this SG is that SGs, the vintage SGs, are pretty much a very, very dependable, basic quality. So that every single time we get one, we're getting one. You know, they're pretty much the same good unit, and they're a great guitar. Make no mistake. And then what happens is sometimes you find something with a bit more character, and I'm a sucker for the underdog. So in some ways, the very good quality guitar is not, I wouldn't say it's lost on me, but give me an underdog like this, with cracks in the neck pocket, with a bridge with a body that isn't from this guitar, and a completely different neck that goes with it, but yet turns into a really fantastic playing, light, simple guitar. You know, so give me the underdog like this any day, and I'll just really enjoy setting it up. Look, got a missing screw. And that's typical me. Give me a absolutely perfect guitar, and I'll be a little bit on the bored side. So I'm not a good person to ask. These are really good guitars, there's no doubt about it. And this is about the 4th or 5th one we've had through here, so there's a reason I keep getting them, because they are so good. And this one was, as I said, was played really well from the outset. No main problems, but again, as with all these things, I really want to make sure that frets are level. And there is a little bit of wear on the frets here. And also I can see that somebody has possibly done a bit of work sometime in the past. So the normal plan for this will be full fret level. And I'll pull off these. Hopefully pull off these. They're not made like they're easy to pull off. Not too bad. Two-handed job though. Switch is a bit loose, and tuner's all in great condition. Nothing about that makes me want to think about taking that off, but I will give the whole thing a clean over now. Sort of an initial clean up just to get some of the dirt off. And we'll also do the neck at the same time while we're here, so it's a sort of initial once over, just getting a look at everything. Sort of, it's rocking on its strap button there. So yeah, a quick once over and have a look through, see what any blemishes and bits and pieces we see. Somebody's put some shielding in the cavity here, which is nice touch. And the chap I bought it off was a nice guy, local to me, and very friendly. And I bought this and a really nice amp. And okay, what have I done with? I'm now short on good polishing cloth. Yeah, I was sort of on the verge of keeping this one because it was a really nice playing guitar until that blasted AcePro got done, and then I had to really think about that as well because there's only so many I can keep. But that one for me was a bit more my style, a bit simpler than this in some ways, a bit more plain. But I am kind of thinking about whether I'll keep the DiMarzio pickup in this one, or whether I'll put it across into the AcePro as I go. Although there's something about the AcePro which is perfectly good in its with its most basic, well, with whatever humbuckers it has fitted. A quick once over on the frets, get any dirt off. Fairly clean actually. Been looked after this guitar compared to some. Be very interesting to see if it's got any better frets in terms of their levelling. Somebody's put a looks like a tusk nut on here as well. So somebody in the know, somebody who cares about their guitars and how they play, which is good. Gonna have to go and get me some more of these cloths. I don't use them up far too. I use them up quicker than I can wash them. That's the problem. Okay. So just a once over. Right. Yeah, I should have shares in, they call these things, microfiber cloths. Okay, so while I'm here I'm going to take the back plate off because I want to see if there's any special wiring in this. It goes with the DiMarzio humbucker. Shouldn't be. But you never know. Tight fit. Well, okay, it's only shielding on the back here. Everything looks fairly straightforward. Flies. Yeah, nothing unusual. Somebody's done their own bit of wiring here, obviously, as they've come in and wired the DiMarzio in. I'm not quite sure immediately which one this is. To the middle pickups. Okay. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'll put this back. Put it back on? No, it won't hurt, will it? No, I'll leave it off. Right, let me put this pile of stuff out of the way. And we're going to just get straight into prepping this for the neck job. First I'm going to do is just check for neck straightness. In order to do the fret leveling, I want the straightest possible neck, and actually this is spot on, just as it stands, so I don't need to do anything to this, which is kind of useful. So I'll get straight on into a fairly boring bit of the operation, which is putting masking tape on the neck, on the fingerboard I should say, and the idea is to protect it so that when we do the fret leveling work, the fretboard is taken care of and won't sustain any damage. And it's a simple task, but it gets a bit complicated in a minute because we have to start cutting the paper into strips that will accommodate the different size frets. So the first few are easy, and then we have to get a little chopping board out and go into slightly anally retentive strips of paper. But if you're going to do anything to your frets, you've got to do this bit, because it's the only way you're going to protect them. Protect the fingerboard. Anyway, the wood frets you're going to beat the hell out of in a minute with a file, but you want to protect the fingerboard. So I just pinch that around the back like that to make for easy release later on. Now this is where we're going to need to get our chopping board up, and we're going to prepare a whole set of strips of masking tape, which we're going to cut with a ruler as well, which is fiddly and takes some time. Just going to make sure we've got enough to do the whole thing. So I'm going to do 4 strips. I'm going to do 2 of them cut in half and 2 of them cut in 3. Fiddly bits. Paper sticks to your finger and always goes anywhere but where you intended it to. Okay, so the first bit is going to be cut down the middle. Not easy to do from that side, so I'll do it this way. Always is making sure your fingers aren't sticking out the edge. I'm going to do the same with this next one. And then the other two, I'm going to go into strips of 3. Doesn't have to be exact, just gauging it by eye really. Turn this round. Okay. It's funny having 3 SGs at the same stage, because we'll end up listing them all at the same time, but it'll be quite interesting. Yeah, people will have 3 different ones to choose from. One that I'm not quite sure about at the moment is the white one, because it has some sort of I don't know what the word would be, something stain or something, blemish on paintwork on the back, where previous owner's strap, I believe it was a strap that pressed against it and left some kind of dark shadows, patterns on the bodywork. So I've had a little go at trying to polish it out, and it's feeling it's doable, but it's going to be hard work, which isn't ideal. Could spend a lot of time trying to get that out, but I think it's worth it, because it's a shame to have a blemish on such a white light coloured guitar, really. Right, so I'm just making absolutely sure that this thing is covered, protected. So long-winded it certainly is, and if you're in a rush or you haven't got any patience, then don't attempt this sort of job. Get somebody else to do it who doesn't mind taking the time. This is coming up on, it must be about the 50th time I've done this now, which is quite something when you stop and think about it, given that I only started doing this about 6 months ago, if that. Yeah, maybe 6 months, Aprilish. Time goes by quickly when you're getting older. Whizzes along. Those of you who may have seen, for your sins, any of the other videos might be wondering why I've got a hat hanging out behind me, and there isn't any really good reason other than I was in town yesterday and the mood just took me to have a hat. It's one of those weird things that I kind of like the olden days in the 50s, 1950s, where it was perfectly normal to wear a hat, and part of me secretly wishes we had those times again where it was stylish to wear a hat, because I don't know why. I suppose if you'd had to have worn a hat in those days, it would have been boring and drab and routine like everyone else, but looking back on it now, it's got this stupid romance to it. And anyway, so I saw this hat and I thought, well, okay, if you can't wear a hat when you're 51, when can you wear a hat? So I bought it, and as soon as I put it on, I realised there was somebody I kept saying to Claire, I look like someone, I look like someone. And then she couldn't think who it was. And then we were driving home and I realised that it was George Galloway. I look like George Galloway in this hat. I had this dark leather jacket on and I was unshaven with my silver stubble. And I was George Galloway. Shocking. I didn't feel very good about that because much as I quite like George Galloway's fiery oratorical skills, I'm not sure I like everything about him. And he's a bit self-obsessed, I think. So anyway, I didn't take the hat back when I realised that I kept it. And then I started thinking, when am I going to actually wear it? And I'm sure I won't be wearing it up to London to my day job. Unless I was brave. And I didn't think it would go with anything I wear for work, so. And that got me thinking what people in the 50s and 60s, 40s and 50s used to wear. You know, what kind of hats they used to wear and what style they were. Because hard to see when the films are black and white. You can see what colour that is. You can guess the material from the colour, but not so easy to do in the black and white film. Okay, so you can see we're getting there, and it takes a long time. A quick way around it, and once we're there, we will have a well protected fretboard. And you can see that it takes quite a bit of time to do this. And you have to be a bit methodical and a bit OCD about it, really, to get it right. Now, the other thing I'm just going to do here is when you're doing, first of all, let me just poke these round and pinch them off. But I'm also going to make sure I cover up the pickup here, because with a set neck like this, a glued neck, it's a bit too easy to run into the pickups with your fret leveling file, and if you do that you'll shave off the top of the pickup. So the first thing I can do is lower them, and if that's the way around, is it? Yeah, there they go. Just wind them down out of the way so they are less likely to. This one doesn't want to do it, it just wants to, screw wants to come out altogether. Okay, it's not very good. Nevertheless, I will just cover this up. Just to be on the safe side. And also adds a little protection to the bodywork here. Well, the tool I've got for doing the frets is very good at making sure that you don't get any damage to the bodywork. Okay, so that's the boring bit done. Now here's a sort of mildly fun bit, or at least it is for me. I don't know if you can see over here, but we've got the Reloved Guitars fret leaderboard of shame, and this just records the guitars that come through here, which have got the most or the least uneven frets. And so far, top of the board is a vintage, same brand as this, but a Les Paul copy, and bottom of the leaderboard of shame is in fact another vintage, same brand, in fact same model as this, and in fact it's that very guitar there, scoring a monstrous 90% of uneven frets. So this is going to be interesting to see where this one lands. Now, if you're considering leveling frets on your guitar, you don't need to do this particular bit. Certainly not if you're going to level them using a file like this. But I'm doing this bit here for kind of interest's sake, and also so that I can add this guitar just out of curiosity really to the leaderboard, see where it scores. And I'm just trying to get a sense of which guitars come with even frets and which don't. I mean, what is true is that the majority of guitars, the vast majority, have at least half of the frets uneven, if not more, and often a great deal more. So now that I know that the neck is level, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fret rocking tool, or the fret rocker, to run across 3 frets at a time, checking to see if I can rock the tool like that. And if I can, you'll hear that clicking noise. It just tells me that at that point this fret is slightly higher than the other ones, or higher than one of the other ones, because it's rocking. So this check is only ever relative. It's not an absolute check. It's just relative to the frets either side. And so we walk our way up the neck. And I'm quite impressed. This is turning out to be quite good so far. A little bit all the way up there, not too much. Kind of confirms my experience of playing this guitar. Actually, it's got a very low action, or had a very low action set, and therefore I know that you could only have a low action, a really low action, by having relatively level frets. So there's none of these frets so far has been so extraordinarily uneven as to radically affect the action. Tiny little high spot there. Little spots here and there, but nothing massively high. Some guitars you'll just get a really loud clicking noise and you can feel it stands out a mile. But these are very mild, if at all. I'm impressed. This is going to be a good score. He said, speaking too soon, got quite a significant one there. But again, you see, that can, just that one being high enough can actually have quite a severe effect and force you to set the action higher to overcome it. And that's the usual consequence of having high frets. Okay, so we've got 22 frets on here. Take out the top and bottom one, which you can't reach. So we're going out of 20, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 20. Gives us a grand total of 50%, which allows us to perfectly placed to fill it in on our leaderboard of shame. And we've got 50% vintage SG black. Cool. So, one more blank space, and then I don't know what we do after that. Squeezing more onto it or something. Extend the board, I don't know. Right, so what we'll do now we're ready to roll with the fret leveling. We're just going to paint a black line of black marker pen on top of all of these frets, because this is going to become a really important important device, I suppose, in telling us when we've levelled the frets. It allows us to see where the file has taken away material and where it hasn't. So we'll know where we've cut and where we haven't. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm in the mood for fret leveling, I'm going to do 3 guitars one after another, but I'll start with this one and I'm just going to fire away. Noisy. Brush away the bits, and I've got most of it. I'm just going to come backward. Am I going to come backwards? Do I need to? Yeah, I'll come backwards and just catch the top end there. Done. I can promise you now that all the frets on this guitar will be level. If you don't believe yourself, go back and use your fret leveling tool, and just go over the bits you already marked up as uneven, and you will find, without a shadow of a doubt, this tool will make a monkey out of me. And I won't quite have levelled this one, which was a bit higher than everything else. So now go back and see, it's almost done, except for a tiny spot there, which is now done. Damn it. Okay. Got a tiny little bit still at this end here, so I'm just going to try and keep the pressure absolutely even. Right there. Okay, done. There's minor details there. Right, so I'm going to stop this one, put it aside, and do the next one while we're in production line mode. I'll also stop and restart the video for the sake of it. Hey ho, well, here we are on the black SG, and having taken all these frets down, I'm now going to get ready for the next stage. So I'm going to draw marker pen back on top of the frets, and this is so that we can, when we re-profile the fret, we can tell or make sure that we don't lower the fret any more than it's already been lowered. Since we've already levelled it, we don't want to take any more off the top. And this marker pen will be a very good way of us knowing that. And I'll show you how. So what we use for this is the fret levelling tool, and I think these are medium jumbo frets, or medium size. So I'm going to use the medium size edge of this, and I'm going to use the concave tool. It's got a kind of concave edge, and it's going onto the, let's find something that's square. Okay. Yeah. So imagine that's our fret has now got a square top. The concave file will go on top of that, and it will cut away at the shoulders of that until it just about settles on top, and we'll stop just before it starts taking the black marker pen off the top, and that means we've got down to the level we want, but we haven't we've taken the edges off, but we haven't lowered the fret anymore. And that's the secret of this. Reprofiling it, but without changing the height of it, because we've now arrived at the perfect height, having done the fret level. And that's what we're going to do with all of these frets now, just run on to each one of them, and there we go. So I'm going to stop this here and come back when it's done. Yo, hello, good morning. Welcome to Sunday. This is Sam here in the Reloved Guitar workshop, and doing a last bit of work on this vintage SV6, I think it's called. The vintage SG copy, which is a very dependable and high quality, dependable quality, I suppose, SG copy, which we've had a few of them through now in the Reloved workshop, for the simple reason that they are extremely reliable and robust and nice guitars actually. And my experience is that you can get an incredible action out of them, which can be almost too low to be believed. In fact, at the moment, this one now having let's have a look. This one is currently sitting at, oh my lord, it's just ridiculous. This is, I would say that is 1.1 millimeters at the 22nd fret, and that's without even really paying that much attention. That's just how we've put it back together again. And actually there's no real good reason to take it any higher, because every note on it plays, so it seems. So anyway, what we got to do on this one? Well, just crank this camera around. This one's it's interesting. This guitar is it's lived and it's been used. It's been gigged probably, or just well played, which is great. So it's not a perfect, it's not a showroom, what do they call it, concourse example. It's very handsome, nice, what do they call it, black, piano black, that sort of thing. But it's it's a few years old, and it's also, because it's black, it shows up the dust. So I did a bit of woodworking in here yesterday, and of course the dust is everywhere, but it's okay, it's only superficial. But so this guitar is almost ready to go. Restrung it, everything about it's good. The neck has probably got just the right amount of relief in it. I'm going to do a bit of polishing on this one. This could do with a kind of refresh, I think. But what I want to do on it right now is just to do the basically do the intonation and also the nut action, which I think when I got it is pretty close, and in fact I may not have to do anything. It's a bit of a lacquer repair to do on the edging here as well, not for any other reason other than to smooth it out so that you don't get a feel of something catching your thumb. Yeah, so let's have a look. Intonation. Let's get our amp ready. We're close to a finish with this. So we'll need the amp, and we'll need excuse me, we'll need the I can't think of any words today. We'll need the tuner app, which is on here. Stay there. And we're also running out of power on that, so we'll get this done before we run out of batteries. I hope. 20%. Right. Okay, so we have our tuner there. We need a screwdriver for adjusting. Now I had a long, let me just dig around in here for a minute. There's a screwdriver head here that will suit my purposes a little bit better. That's quite good to get in there and do the intonation. Plenty of room. Okay, so and restart this and go. Pickups are such unstable things. I may have to change out this pickup because that bugger doesn't work, or isn't working. What an annoyance. The bit that annoys me about pickups, right, is the fact that you can't see inside there, and you can't very easily get to it without taking this whole thing apart, including breaking some of these solder chunks. So when you have a situation like this where pickup's just suddenly decided it's not going to work, you don't know why, then you're forced to either replace it or go back and start again, in which case I'm going to have a look here, so just bear with me a minute. This is a bit of a pain. Annoyance. We might change out the pickup if that's not. If it's something wrong with the pickup, then I'll change it out for another one, since I have a spare Wilkinson as it happens. Just extremely annoying. Okay, we are looking at the second one here, which is the first one here. Okay, something's not right here. Okay, it's something. I'll take a moment of soldering. The pickup's okay. It's the connection which is just a right little pain, since we've got as far as we've got. And I'm just going to need to pad this out with what I'm going to do is just support the switch, and then I'm going to fire up my soldering iron, as they say in Plymouth. So this was a bit of a detour where we didn't expect to go, but what I'm seeing is this connection here is not good, so I need my ultrasonic glasses on. As we go delving into the bowels of the... It's not that... The thing about these guitars is they're not complicated, but despite being not complicated, I don't really know that much about how they work. In other words, I'm not 100% au fait with the electrics. But I can see clearly, mechanically there's a problem there. So I'm just going to remove this connection and put it back on, because it may be that it's being done in a way that the solder hasn't stuck. Because quite often you can do that, what can be the case. You can do what looks to be, it looks like you fitted something and it's not got hot enough and hasn't actually stuck, if you see what I mean. So that spare pickup can go back up there for the time being, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And hopefully we'll get all this done before the battery runs out on the tuner. I have to wait for the iron to heat up. Yeah, so I was just looking at this guitar, and it's well played. And I think there's one, I can spot one place where there's been a repair, and I can't see where it is now, but it's no biggie. I mean, that's quite often the case. I often make small lacquer repairs anyway, but yeah, it needs a good polish. So once I've done the intonation work in here, I'll take it in the house and I'll take my scratch removal stuff in and sit in the comfort of being in the house and take care of that there. Now, I think the iffy bit here is it's the live connector. It's obviously not sticking properly, but it's not soldered properly, I should say. So I'm just going to give it a little pull and remove it. So we've got the heat up on here. Just want to make sure I do it in such a way that it doesn't implicate or upset any of the other wires, because that's the last thing I want to do, is weld anything or melt anything else that doesn't need to be melted. So I just softened the solder just to see, so rather than take it all out, see whether this has reconnected or remade the connection where it should be. Yep, there you go, that's all it was. Lovely. Okay, job done. So what I'll do is I'll unplug the soldering iron, hang it in its cooling place, put that away, shift these out of the way, get ready to put the thingy back on, you know that thing. The thing that we call electrics cover plate. Just whack those back in, and then we go back to the intonation game. Again, only ever lightly put those in. It's not like you're screwing shelves into the wall. You're just holding a piece of plastic in place, and if you overcook it, you'll just buckle the plastic, and then and also you'll strip the hole, and that will mean eventually the yes, it means eventually the screw won't stay in. Right, so that's that done. Switch back. Now for this job we want a clean sound, no effects, not too much gain. And we need to have our tuner ready and our adjusting screwdriver. And I'm just going to have another one ready just in case that one doesn't work. It's funny out there, sun's shining and it's raining on the shed. Okay, so here we go. This is the intonation job. And to do this, what we're aiming to do, or aiming to achieve, is we need to make sure that the strings, each individual string, is the correct length for this neck, which seems a bit of a strange thing to say, and that's what intonation is. It means, if you think about it, this neck is manufactured in some factory, and there's a calculation made to tell the person who's making the neck how far apart to put these frets, and because it's not a fixed distance, you can see that they come together closer and closer as you go further up the neck. There's obviously a mathematical formula that governs or dictates the rate at which they come together, and so the formula will say first fret is 1 inch, second fret is just under 1 inch, third fret is 3/4 of an inch, and so on. And it's not guesswork. And what happens is, if you're making guitar, you basically decide the scale length of the guitar you want to make. And for somebody like most manufacturers, actually, you don't reinvent the scale length each time. What people tend to do, including home builders, will be to choose a common scale length, which has been proved over many years to work really well for that size or style of guitar. So, for example, a guitar like this will have a particular scale length. Off the top of my head, I don't know what it is. Hey, hello. It is. Thank you. A cup of tea.
Yeah, the girls are here.
Okay.
And there are dresses everywhere.
Okay. Do I need to knock if I come through?
Yes, probably.
Okay. All right. I'll maybe stay out there.
Okay.
Thank you. Some wedding dress trying on going on. Yeah. So the what did I say? Oh yes. So the most guitars were built to one of a few, a limited small number of scale lengths, and what that does is, as I say, it's a nominal length. The scale length is the nominal length of the free rotating string between the edge of the nut here and the edge of the bridge there, and that allows factories to make necks to fit a certain kind of guitar. So all of the SGs are probably made with the same basic scale length, and so that all manufacturers' necks will the frets will come together closer and closer at a predictable and dependable rate. And so when you get a guitar neck, or you want to build a guitar, you get a guitar neck from a manufacturer that's been built precisely for a particular scale length, and then your job is to put the guitar together in such a way as to recreate that scale length, and that means you have to position the bridge down here at a certain fixed distance away from the nut, and if you do that correctly then this neck will work. And what it means is that the musical intervals, or the note intervals for each of the frets will correspond to I don't know how you put it, but you know, Western music. So the increments are in semitones, or semitones as you go up, and that's my cat scratching my leg as usual. If you just got any old neck and you put the bridge any old where, you wouldn't have any control, and actually every one of these notes you played would be slightly more or less than a semitone, and it wouldn't fit in. Everything would be out of tune all the time with every other instrument in the band or orchestra or whatever. So the whole purpose of this intonation, controlling the intonation and the rate, the relationship between the fretted neck and the length of strings, is about ensuring that this instrument plays true in terms of Western music all the way, and every fret you play plays a semitone higher or lower as you go. Now, having said that, you'd think, well, okay, get a neck built for a known scale length. We'll put it on a body and we'll plonk the bridge down at exactly the right distance away, and then we've got a guitar that plays true, right? Not exactly. You do that. You plonk the bridge down in a place where you know it's going to be correct for this scale length, but each string varies slightly, and there's something to do with the thickness of the string and the way it's made. Some are steel, and plain steel, and then they get thicker, and some are wound steel and then they get thicker. So each one of these strings needs to be a slightly different length from each of the others to be perfectly intonated for this neck, and that's what we do as a final part. Providing the neck's broadly in the right place, then this bit will just be a matter of adjusting these saddle positions either forward or backwards to change the length of the string. If we do this job, sometimes you might find yourself doing this on a guitar and you find you cannot intonate it. Let's say, for example, there looks like there's maybe an issue here, just judging by where these are set. So you might find that you're trying to get it intonated and you've got these little settings as far as they'll go in one direction. You can't get any further. A cat's interested in the tuner moving. And if you find that that's the case and you just cannot intonate it, then what may be the case is it may well be that your bridge is marginally, very slightly out of position. And that can often happen on guitars you make yourself to a plan, because 1 millimeter's difference here could be the difference between you running out of intonation adjustment on these bridges, because they don't give you an awful lot. So anyway, enough talk. What we're going to do, well, the point to make here, the point to make at this point is how do we guess now, or how do we work out whether we've got exactly the right length? And this is how we do it. We tune the string to equal an E, for example the high string, to its correct note on a pinged harmonic on the 12th fret. So there's the open string, there's the 12th fret fretted, and here's the 12th fret pinged. Okay, it's like harmonics here. Okay, so we're pinging the 12th fret harmonic, and we're going to just make sure the string's tuned to that. Cat wants to go out. Right, that's good enough for me. Notice as well, let me let the cat out. Yeah. Just as we get into the good bit, cat. Come on, out you go. Come on. Come on. You don't want to be in here in the nice warm shed. You want to be out there in the rain. I'm not really heartless, but... right, here we go. Back again. Okay, that's good. Notice I'm also doing it standing up. It's good to do the intonation in the position that the guitar will be in, because if you don't, gravity makes a difference. I could even demonstrate it. It's quite a fun little demo. Okay, we know let's say we're perfectly tuned there. You can see it. Let's do this lying down. There's the 12th fret. Sharp. Look at that. Okay, you're seeing it live. Spot on. So all that's happening is when the guitar's lying down here, right? The weight of the neck is pulling back and it's tensioning the string. It's basically putting more pressure on the string so that the string is sharp. Okay, so it is noticeable, and if you want to be exactly precise, do your intonation sitting up like this. Okay, so we've got it tuned on the harmonic to the E string, to the E note, and now we're going to fret the note and compare the difference between the two. So first pinged and then fretted. So you can see from that, the fretted note is slightly sharp, and that means that the string length is a fraction too short. And so what we do is we take our screwdriver and we go to the whichever, is this a Phillips head, is it? Just to be, oh yeah, be my best friend. It's a Phillips head. So we go to where the screw adjuster is. Sometimes it's on this side of the bridge, sometimes it's on that side. It doesn't make any difference actually. I prefer it on the back side. Somebody else who I think actually I put the bridge back on around this way because I prefer it that way. It doesn't affect the playing of the guitar at all. So what did I say? It was too sharp, therefore it's too short, so therefore I want to drag this bridge saddle backwards. To do that I have to, what do I do? So I can't get a very good bite at these any direction. You really need an offset screwdriver. I'm going the wrong direction, that's the problem. Okay, so I want to go the other way. It's an inconvenience whichever way you do this. Your best bet is to find a screwdriver that will give you some leverage to do the adjustment. And with this particular thing, I'm going to have to slack off the string, which is something I don't like, or I don't normally have to do. But something about this bridge here that is being difficult. It's just putting so much pressure on this saddle that I'm not getting any adjustment into it without taking the whole string off. So actually, at the moment it's only going in one direction, which is not what I need. I need more leverage and a better fit of thing. So this is always potentially a right pain, this bit. I actually can't get this to go. It's only going in one direction, which is really useless. Let me find, 1 second, look in the messy toolbox and try and find slightly extended thing that will do the job. It might be this one. No, it's not that one. Might be this one. No, they're all flatheads. What's all this about? Yeah, so okay, so now I have a bridge saddle that's all one direction forward and it will not go backwards for some bizarre reason. I'm giving myself a bit more leverage room and hopefully it's not a better fit now. That's no good. So we don't need the horrible noises for the minute. So this is one of the annoying things about the come on, come back, damn you. No, it's coming back. It's one of the annoying things about the Tune-o-matic bridge arrangement is it's really not keen to respond to what I want it to do, and you end up with a lot of hard work on those particular settings. Right, go back to the E. that's a tiny bit flat, which means it's too long, so I'm going to come the other way. Close enough. So we do the same with the B. Way sharp. So again, with this we've got to bring the thingy back. Very hard to do it without damaging the strings as well. Okay. That's okay, actually. You notice that the note goes up and comes down again. It finally settles on its pitch. Now that feels flat. Even though it comes, let's check again. Yeah, a little bit flat. So that means it's a little bit too long. So I want to bring it. I can get in there. I hate the arrangement of these things. It's so annoying at the best of times. So I want to shorten this. Bringing the bridge saddle that way towards the nut. That's okay. You can see how somebody struggled with these before, because one or two of them don't look very healthy, those things. Not surprised though. That's definitely flat. So we'll come forward with that one as well. Quite sensitive, in fact. The Tune-o-matic bridge, the adjustments take place quite quickly. Tiny bit more. Forward towards the nut a tiny bit. Stop there. Still. That'll do. That's good enough. So that's all right. We've got there without too much trouble in the end. So we'll just go back and oh, I guess there's a step missed out in this, but I think I mentioned it. The step that's missed out is adjusting the heights over the first fret here, but they're perfect on this guitar. Somebody's done it before correctly. That's the indicator when you've got really good intonation. You can play an open chord like a D right up here, a whole octave higher, and it's perfectly in tune with the open strings, and that's a really nice indicator. So, and you can also, if you've got a good ear, you can also hear that all the notes in these chords are ringing together beautifully, including on the open chords. Lovely. So there we have it, folks. Nicely intonated. Slightly easier work for me than usual because the nut slots were correctly cut, and that's very, very rare. Even though this guitar came pretty well. Scored halfway down, and I suppose quite what's the word? Unusual to have only 50% of the frets needing working on, but actually what it does score very well on is the previous setup that somebody's done, particularly the string heights over the first fret. I mean, I could probably tweak them a little bit more, but actually I'm not going to, because this guitar plays really well as it is. The only thing I am going to do right now, which, while we're here, is I'm going to just add a little bit of nitrocellulose lacquer to the edge. I'm just going to use that as a prop. Yeah, just going to add a little bit of lacquer to the edge of the neck down here, where it's flaked off. And I can just get a blade and help the last little bit here off as well. So that's just come away, worn out, obviously been kind of clipped or banged. And actually I can tell somebody's replaced the nut here, so they've done the nut work correctly, which is really nice to see, and unusual. It just saves me a bit of time. So on this one, I'm just going to put a couple of blobs and then just prop it up somewhere out of the way. And what I'll come back and do is just level those off, first of all with a little bit of sandpaper, and then I'll finish off with the micromesh treatment, which will polish it down from, you know, that's it, sort of, well, the micromesh range, it goes from 1500 through to 12,000, and that's really, really useful because we can just make repairs like this blend in effortlessly, and it also means then that nobody has to nobody feels the repair, and it just smooths it out, which is a nice touch. Okay, so I'm just going to put that off, plonk it somewhere safely down here in a guitar stand off to one side, kind of off to one side. Will that sit there comfortably? Where does it want to sit? It wants to do something else, really. Let's try and sit it there. And we'll prop it up with the wonderful naphtha. That's perfect. Okay, propped up, out of the way. So there we have the vintage SG in black, done and dusted, and that's that. Now we can move on to I think the last, oh no, two more guitars. Either of the white vintage hanging up over there, the white SG, which is in a state of readiness. This has some interesting markings on the body where somebody's strap or something bled through onto it and has discoloured these bits of white. I've had a look at trying to remove that with a bit of polishing, but it's hard work, even if I think I've got a bit out there, but I wonder if it's kind of worth it, and maybe we'll just put it out as is with a slight reduction in price because it isn't absolutely perfect. And then we've also got then this Blue Affinity Squire strap to put back together, and I bought a new neck for it because this one, although I rescued it from being sawn in half, to be honest, I don't think anyone would want to buy a sawn in half neck, so I bought another neck for it which fits nicely. So that will be put together in that nice blue body. Okay, so those two to do, but for now, goodbye.